Alright, hello everybody. Sorry I can't be there today, but here I am on YouTube, and I'm telling you about our new Physica project. And what I'd like to show you is, first of all, in our project, right now our little character moves around and the screen is stationary, but what we'd like to do is have the screen follow the character in a Mario style camera-based solution. So we're going to have the screen centered around the character. Let's close OBS. And then a couple other things as well. I'd like to change the dimensions of how we're working in this. This is, once we zoom in and follow the character, this will seem like an enormous world, and that will just give us a lot more space to work with things. So first of all, going to my project, I'd like to make sure that we have a big enough grid to support our tile set for our pictures. Tile set is, of course, in the handout folder, and you can grab all those great pictures from, I forget what version of Mario. Someone on the internet is screaming at me right now. But you can grab all those pictures. I forget the source of where we got that from, but we'll try and credit that at some point since we're now doing this in public. Anyways, let's talk about the grid size. So right now I think we have it set to 10. That made it convenient for testing purposes, but we'd like to make it a lot bigger. So the images in the tile set happen to be 32 by 32 pixels, so we'll just go with 32 by 32. And if I run it, you'll see a couple of things. First of all, wow, it's so much bigger and we can't see everything, but that's okay. Excuse me. Oh dear. Alright, so that's okay because we're going to attach a camera to our character. Where are we going to do that? So that's going to be in the draw function, and basically in the world.draw part of our code, this is where we tell Physica to put all the F boxes and other properties, or other bodies I should say, into the screen. Then what we can do is move the position of the origin. So when it draws everything, it's centered around a different point. As you know, the origin for all of our sketches ever since the beginning has been the top left-hand corner of the screen, right? That's 0, 0. But it turns out you can change that. So we're going to change that with something called translate. Before we do that, we have to set some things up. It's actually, if you haven't done this before, it'll seem awfully weird. A few of you did this last year with rotations and some other fun things. But we're going to use two lines of code in our draw function just around world.step and world.draw. So we're going to have begin, tired brain. It is push, there we go, push matrix. Push matrix means begin some transformations, they're called. That's the unit in math 9. It used to be in math 9, and also it used to be in math 12, but I'm not sure where it is now currently in the math curriculum. All those moving things around, rotating them, flipping them, that kind of stuff. So we're going to start doing some transformations, and then you do pop matrix to end it. Just in case you're like looking at matrix and wondering, like, are we taking the blue pill or the red pill, or some other reference to that movie? It has nothing to do with the movie. It's all about something called matrix multiplication or linear algebra. And feel free to Google that if you're actually curious. And if you're not actually curious, you probably just want me to shut up. So I'm going to keep on going here. So after push matrix, what we're going to do is we're going to translate. Translate to, which, by the way, translate means move the origin of the screen. We're going to put that origin on the character, and that for me is player.getX, and player.getY. This is going to fail spectacularly, and I'll show you. I actually think maybe I should shrink the shrink things down a bit. I'll shrink the grid size, oh dear, to back to 10 just so we can see what's happening. So it's obviously not centered on the character, and it's a little bit confusing as to where it's centered. So if I move, notice I go up, the world goes up. If I go down, the world goes down. That's not supposed to be how it works, right? The way it works is actually when you go up, the map goes down, or your camera, if you will, goes down, and that's what's going to allow us to sync up with our character. So that was a good attempt, but it actually turns out we have to invert this. So we're going to say minus player.getX and minus player.getY, and that'll actually make things work a little bit better. Here's our character. Whoa! Hey, look, our character is now at the top left-hand corner. That's where the origin normally is, and now that's linked to the player. Woohoo! I've never played a platformer game where this looks like this, however, so we gotta obviously get that point to the center of the screen, and that's pretty easy. All we have to do is add on half the width of the screen to the X and half the height of the screen to the Y. So I'm going to do that. Width divided by 2 plus height divided by 2. And if you're wondering, my screen is, my running window is 800 by 600. So let's run that, and whoa, look, character is centered. Now it's still kind of lame because now we're far out, so let's get zoomed in, up close and personal, put that grid size back to 32. And hey, look at that! It's almost like we're seeing from the perspective of the character. Yeah, the movement's pretty slow. I'm just going to adjust the movement a little bit, so bear with me. I believe that is called top speed. Let's crank that up a bit, just so I can move around the world and explore things. And just crank up the jumping velocity there. Alright, so now, we can jump around, we can kind of go from place to place. Hey, look, we've encountered a problem. So this is a new problem you're going to get that is to do with your new size of your world. Your world size is, your grid size is now 32, which has made your world a lot bigger. And check out what happens now. I'm going to jump into the deep end. Oh no, I've frozen. We've actually gone beyond the bounds of Physica's space in which it keeps track of forces on things. It's finite. This, like, the universe in this simulation is definitely finite, and it's just too small right now. We can adjust that size. We haven't done this before, but go to where your constructor is for your F-world object, your world. Mine is here, new F-world, I should say. And you can actually give this parameters. I haven't found out yet if this will improve how many F-boxes we can have in our worlds. I kind of doubt it, but for now I'm just going to crank it up. So these first two parameters are the top left-hand coordinates of the bounds of where we're going to keep track of things, and then we're going to do some ridiculously large number. I don't know if that's that large, but it's pretty big. So that's the bottom right-hand corner of our boundaries of computation for the physics in this world, and that will probably do us. And if it's not, well, you keep increasing it. At some point we need to refine it so that it's efficient. We don't want to just put 10 billion and just walk away, but for testing right now, this isn't the important problem. We're trying to get our camera to work. Alright, let's see. Do I have weird falling now? Hey, look at that. I can go pretty much everywhere in my world. So we got ourselves a little, I don't know what you'd call this, a parkour simulator or something. Woo! I don't know, it's pretty fun. I think we should definitely make a Spider-Man game based on the cool parkour moves we're doing in here. And I like this little tiny hole down here. Oh man, this is my house right here. This is where I come to get away from it all. Just snoozing here, taking a nap, staying safe. That's what it's all about. Okay, anyways, blah, blah, blah. So that was me getting the character to be attached, the camera to be attached to the character. Nothing too fancy there. Now there's some other fancy stuff we can do with this that we'll have fun with in the future. Zoom, for example, is a scale. But I'll just stop the video at this point, and we'll take into that later on. All right, thanks for watching. Subscribe, guys. Just kidding.